Hey everyone, a quick note before we dive in. We recorded this episode on Sunday, the 29th, and the SNAP and food assistance situation has been rapidly changing just in the last few days, and by the time you hear this, it may continue to change by the hour. So, just an FYI to tune in, but also go to your local news outlets and stay informed because they are covering the situation all the way from Congress to here in Nevada. So please stay tuned. And now let's get started with this very frightening episode.
Welcome back, everyone, to 1 Minute Recess, where we do Nevada politics with a little bit of sarcasm and zero filter as usual. My name is Annette Magnus.
And I'm Maria Teresa, or Mayte for short. There's a lot of BS. We were just talking offline about all the horrible things happening. So let's go right into it, Annette, shall we?
Well, it's
What's going
spooky
on?
season and, Halloween week. Happy Nevada Day, everyone. Wednesday
Woo!
wants to say Happy Nevada Day as well.
Woof woof.
Yeah, Nevada Day. Everybody's celebrating, including Wednesday. So things are really bad. I mean, just like every week. But this week, we've got starving people. Thanks to Donald Trump. Thanks to Donald Trump, we have starving people. Yeah, we've peaked.
Yeah.
So, let's dive right in on this Halloween Nevada Day week. See what's going on, Maria. Take us straight into it. Let's talk about SNAP.
Jesus. I laugh so I don't cry. Truly. Honestly.
1,000%. 1,000%. Yes.
If people have been turning any device on that shows video or anything, you've seen probably food banks and food pantries begging for help because they see what's coming down the road, that people are going to be starving. Even Jose Andres had to set up tents in Washington, D.C. to give people in D.C. free food. So, yeah, it's going to be even worse when SNAP totally dries out, and especially here in Nevada, where we also don't have money. And so people are just going to starve. So that's the status on SNAP. And for people that don't know what SNAP is, it's literally food assistance. And we're going to let people starve. That's where we're at.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into it. So I was on a panel last week with Congresswoman Titus. She held a roundtable on women's issues at her office. And we talked a little bit about this for my client, Moms Rising. And it's not just SNAP we're worried about. Obviously, we're worried about WIC, which is Women and Infants and Children. Women, Infants, Children. That's what it means, WIC. That's assistant for children, like babies. And then you also have SNAP, which is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And then you have Head Start, which is an early childhood education program. So you have these three really important programs to feed, educate, childcare, help the most vulnerable people among us, right? So literally getting ready to cut off food to babies and the poorest among us. Great job, everyone. So a lot of these programs, for those who don't know, because a lot of times people don't understand how this stuff works. So a lot of these programs all three of these programs are funded by the federal government. And a lot of what's happening with the shutdown, I think this is the missing context of the government shutdown. The Republican shutdown, because it is the Republican shutdown, is happening because the Democrats are standing up to Republicans, specifically over Obamacare, over the Affordable Care Act, because Republicans are trying to gut it and dismantle the Affordable Care Act, which will leave hundreds of thousands of people across this country, especially in rural communities, without affordable health care. So the Democrats finally found their spine and were like, no, Republicans, we ain't doing that. We're not dismantling the Affordable Care Act because that will leave hundreds of thousands without health insurance. Now, the Republicans are using Head Start and WIC and SNAP as a pressure point to try and get the Democrats to come to the table. Now, these are programs the Republicans wanted to cut anyways. We all knew this, right? Like, they don't give a shit about the kid once it's out of the womb. They just want to make sure that, people starve. the Republicans don't give a shit about anybody but themselves. And so what we're seeing now is them using SNAP and WIC and Head Start as this like leverage point. But let's talk about like what numbers we're talking here. So the Head Start programs have already missed their federal payments. They were supposed to get on October 1st, and that's because of the government shutdown. And more people are starting to, or more and more of those Head Start programs are running out of funding. And there's this cliff coming this Saturday on November 1st, where essentially all of these programs run out of money. And if the government doesn't act this week, then all of these programs are out of money. And we're in deep, deep shit if that happens. And so once November 1st rolls around Saturday, the Head Start programs are going to force to close, even if temporarily, and parents who rely on them could lose their jobs and children's education could be disrupted because of this, right? Because those are early childhood programs, but a lot of parents use those as childcare services. So how are the parents going to lose their jobs? Well, they're not going to have access to affordable childcare anymore. That's number one.
Ta-da!
Number
you can
two,
have a job now.
Number two, so, get to work. You lazy poor people is what the Republicans love to say, yet
Get
they're
a
taking
job.
away people's childcare, right? Can't have a
show up my
job,
job with my baby.
if you don't have anywhere for your fucking kids to go.
Yeah.
Kind of how that
And
works.
And most of these places don't have either parental leave or on-site
No.
childcare or
No.
stipends for childcare. So it's like they're screwed they're screwed either way.
Then let's talk about SNAP. So SNAP literally feeds people. So on top of that, in this week, SNAP is projected to also run out of funding. 500,000 Nevadans use SNAP. Now, I'm not just talking kids. I'm talking the elderly. I'm talking poor people. I'm talking veterans. I'm talking people who cannot feed themselves. So like across the spectrum, across the political spectrum, people who cannot feed themselves, including kids, this funding will run out this week. 1 in 6 people in Nevada, 1 in 6 people, Maria, are not going to have food as of November 1st. And Trump is now escalating this bullshit. The USDA said, yeah, we're going to keep people's EBT cards on through November. If they have things that they need to buy throughout November, there's like a major food holiday coming up in November, they can still use their cards. USDA made that ruling this week. Trump this week was like, nope, we're done on November 1st. No more. We're done. Cutting it all off November 1st.
But he gets to keep his pay.
Sure. It's got a ballroom to build, Maria. These are the real priorities of Americans, not feeding the most vulnerable among us. We got a fucking ballroom, Maria.
My Hitler ballroom. I need it.
Build his Russian ballroom. What are you saying? The real priorities of Americans, not feeding the most vulnerable among us. Fuck out of here. We don't care about that. Okay. So, Nevada mom. So that's SNAP. Now we're talking WIC, right? Women, infants, children. 55,000 Nevada moms and kids count on WIC to buy infant formula, feed their babies, maintain healthy pregnancies, get support with breastfeeding. All the things that the Republicans love to force women to fucking do with their bodies, like having a kid. They want to force you to do that. They want to force you into pregnancies. But if they're going to force you into those pregnancies, but they don't want you to be able to take care of that pregnancy.
No.
And then once the baby's born, you better get a job.
That's right.
Quick.
Straight out of the womb. Get those boots.
Straight out of the womb. You better get to work, you little shit. We ain't feeding you. We ain't putting diapers on your hiney.
Mom, you too.
Mom better get right back to work, according to Donald Trump.
Family values.
We ain't feeding you, you little shits. The Republicans, party of family values, but they don't care about feeding poor people.
Seems
one of my friends.
Yeah.
One of our common friends, Brian, you know who I'm talking about. He says this best, and I think this is so true across the political spectrum. If the government can't do basic shit like feed people, like the very, very fundamental basic shit like feed people, why are we even trying at this point?
Super basic. And I was exactly going to say, if you've ever looked at the hierarchy of human needs, food is at the very foundation of it. It's almost like you die without it.
It's like it's a human right. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy how
And
that
like,
works.
we're no longer scavengers out in the wild that have to go get our
Well,
food. It's something
we
that should
might
be.
be.
We might be.
We might
Yeah,
be.
we might be eating, I don't know. What do we have down here to hunt?
Okay, so like let's think about this. 1 in 6 Nevadans, okay? 500,000 people. Now, sure, a lot of those people are going to be in Washoe County, so that's like Reno, Sparks area, right? A lot of those people will be in Las Vegas. Sure. Disproportionately, though, you know where a lot of those people are? They're in rural Nevada.
It's gonna
Because
say
there's a lot
starts
of
with an R.
businesses shutting down. Tariffs are hitting them. Hard to do business in rural Nevada. You know who caused that, friends? Your dear leader, Donald Trump. Donald
The
Trump
man you
caused all
voted
that shit.
for.
Out in one of the rural communities recently, we just had a mine close. What are those people doing for food? You know they're relying on government assistance, but your dear leader doesn't want you to eat, friends, because SNAP would be what you're using to feed yourselves. Not to
Literally.
mention, the federal government has cut funding for our food banks, which brings us to the solution that Nevada has. You want to talk about that?
Boy, I only, read the news as part of this morning's We're Gonna Starve People round of news readings. But
Yeah.
from what I read,
I'll fill in the gaps because I've been following it intimately.
fill in the gaps, please. Because I'm sure there's also people that have no idea about anything. So we have all of this from the National. So what apparently the news today from the Nevada Independent, and we'll put the link in the chat, is that legislators and the governor want to funnel funds, I forget from where, to address sort of what the money from the federal government would have been, kind of like we were doing during COVID for some programs. But I didn't read the memo. I didn't, go into the details, but it's just I did kind of see the thing where some of the legislators are saying like this is gonna fix the actual problem. Like it's very
It's
technical.
not. So I will say kudos to Treasurer Zach Conine because he's been working on this for the past week. Because, now all of us are seeing this gigantic cliff coming at us on November 1st when we're like, oh shit,
Oops.
like people are not going to be able to eat. It's kind of the
That's right
first
around the
time that's
corner.
ever. Kind of the first time is, I'm really tired of living in unprecedented times. Like, I'm kind of over it. Just not gonna lie to you. I'm tired of like learning these like detailed mechanics about how the government should work versus how it does work and how it's kind of shitty. Anyways, so let's go down the road of how Nevada plans to deal with the crisis of how people will feed themselves.
Woo.
So, federal funding again, Nevada Independent had this. We'll put it in the chat. Federal funding for food assistance programs is set to halt November 1st, leaving 500,000 Nevadans without support for buying groceries, feeding themselves, The state's legislative and executive branches are planning to funnel money to food banks to help families in need. We're going to talk about why that's a problem here in a second. Already, the governor's finance office reverted $5.9 million in federal American Rescue Plan funding Friday to address food insecurity because we still have ARP funding, American Rescue Plan funding from the Biden administration, friends, from the Biden administration to help us bail us out of these crises. So thanks, President Biden, once again.
No, I did. I thought I was dreaming that I had read ARP. I knew I was.
No.
Saves us.
No.
Hail
Once
Mary.
again, Joe Biden saves us. Governor Lombardo's spokesperson said it will provide supplemental assistance to food banks, and additional programs were submitted Sunday, bringing the overall total now to $8 million. Legislative sources who spoke on the condition of I can never say this word, anonymity, because of conversations are ongoing, indicated that in addition to that funding, the Board of Examiners will likely vote Thursday to use $30 million from IFC, Interim Finance Committee, unrestricted contingency account to help fund food banks. Okay. So that's great. Real glad our food banks are finally going to be funded properly because the federal government is shitting the bed. Great job, everyone. We're going to fund our food banks. Wow.
What?
Let's talk about why funding food banks is only part of the way you do things. let's talk about transportation issues for poor people.
Oh.
Oftentimes, food banks, which are near and dear to my heart, ran one out of my garage during COVID. Oftentimes, there are transportation issues with food banks because poor people often don't have access to transportation and have to take buses or just don't have any means to take any kind of transportation. And so a lot of times, those EBT cards would be loaded with money, and then they would go to their local grocery store that's closest to them and get those groceries. Hell, they might even DoorDash them if they're disabled, right? You can't DoorDash 3 Square. You
No.
can't have a delivery service bring you groceries from the food bank, friends.
No,
So
I
if
haven't
you
seen
have,
that yet.
nope, not yet, not a service that's provided yet. So if you have significant transportation issues, or if you have a total lack of transportation, or if you have a disability, that's great for the people who have cars. What about the rest of these people who don't have access to transportation? How the fuck are they going to get their food?
Yeah. And
So that,
for all you rural people out there,
thank you. Yes, this is
Everything-
where I was going next. Who has a food? Do they have a food bank in Winnemucca, Maria?
I know they have a Taco Bell, but that's not a food bank.
Not a food bank, but you know what you could use at the Taco Bell?
Your card.
EBT
if it had
card.
money in it.
You know what you could use at your Family Dollar in Esmeralda? Your EBT card. But you know what they probably don't have? Food banks.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we going to do for our poor rural communities who are desperate for food now? We're just going to have a food desert out there?
I only
What's the
laugh because
plan?
we are in a desert, and so this is only going to be a bigger desert. It's like desert.
It's just going to exacerbate it.
This is truly horrific. And you know, as part of the if people just put snap cuts, one of the first things that I saw in the news was that people are thinking and like sharing on social media, what if during Halloween you give kids non-perishable food so that they can take back home to their family? Like, how awful is that? That you're like thinking, are my neighbors, are the kids that are going to come to my door or the trunk or treat, would they be better
Are they
off?
going to be
Not like-
starving in a week?
yeah, like
Should I
would
give them
they be-
apples?
Yeah, instead of like having a joyful Halloween, have one where it's like, please go feed your family because, you know, Trump wants everyone to die.
Let's take this a step further, okay? So snap's
There's another
about to be
step?
cut. Oh yeah, there's another step because we gotta go full envy ledge stupidity here. Let's go
Oh,
all
boy.
the way down the rabbit hole because we know the federal government is a burning dumpster fire of shame, right? Like we should just be fully ashamed of those fucking idiots at the federal level. But let's keep going. Let's keep going the Nevada shame spiral because we should be going down that shame spiral, right?
The Nevada way?
The Nevada way. So in this NVNE article, the Nevada Independent article that I was just reading from that we were commenting on, our dear savior, Joe Lombardo, says, the contingency funding, sources said, will be allocated in partnership with the food banks to help address the looming crisis. Bitches, there was a looming crisis over the summer. This is not new. We just are cutting more. There was a looming crisis for our food banks literally because of Trump's big, beautiful bill. All of those cuts were already devastating enough. People already weren't having food on the table. This is just going to exacerbate it. But there's more. The intention is to backfill the contingency fund during the yet-to-be-called fall special session, one legislative source said. Let's talk about that special session, shall we? Let's talk about what's on that agenda. Let's talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to give film tax credits to billionaires and billionaire studios while people can't fucking eat? And all you're going to do is backfill some couch pennies into the food banks and rural Nevada has no food banks? Tell me, let's think about the optics of that shit for a minute.
Awful. Like, even, you know,
during the holidays, during Thanksgiving.
Yeah, like, you know, this is not the time for that. The crisis is not looming. The crisis is...
It's been here. It's been here.
Which is hilarious because this guy, Lombardo, has a so-called degree in crisis situations or whatever, crisis communication. Bullshit, because the crisis has been here. Were you not around during COVID where people were
Joe,
already having problems with food
It ain't he
access?
don't give a shit about poor people eating. He was a cop, Maria.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
if he
give a
could,
shit
if
about poor people.
no, no, like, I mean, this guy was cooperating with ICE when he shouldn't have been before it
Still
was
is.
cool. Yeah,
Still
and so,
is.
yeah, I do not trust one thing that motherfucker says because he does not give a shit about anyone.
But
Ugh,
quite possibly the laziest way to deal
yeah,
with this.
no, let's talk film studio and let's find a couch penny for the people of Nevada.
You're gonna vote on tax credits. By the way, there's already film tax credits on the books. For those of you who don't know, this happened back in 2016. There are already film tax credits on the books that are not being used for the film studios. They could use those film tax credits that already exist, by the way. But okay, fine. Let's build some new studios. Sure. Even though, isn't Warner Brothers up for sale now?
Yeah, like also Hollywood is having its own problems. Like they can
They're
bear
all moving. They're all moving.
people aren't going to go to the
London.
movies. People aren't going to be able to go to the movies.
They already aren't because they don't have any fucking money. Now they can't feed themselves.
Right. And like even if you thought, you know, which sometimes we talk about, like maybe this would be so cool. Like it's no A stadium. This is not the time to discuss this. That is not something that should be on the table whatsoever. This special session should be about, I don't know, making sure everybody has either transportation or food access nearby.
Last time I checked, wasn't it the Republicans who threw a temper tantrum when Steve Sisolak called us into a special session during COVID because people were like losing their jobs and shit was really hitting the fan, and they were like, we should only go into special sessions if it's like a crisis.
A crisis that's looming.
Last time I checked, a film tax credit
ain't no crisis.
And I'm sorry, even the crime bill that the hotels want
ain't no crisis. No.
The healthcare bill, sure, that would be great to do some like really important reforms to healthcare, but like maybe you should have done that during regular session, Joe Lombardo. Maybe your bill should have been out earlier, Joe. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have gotten all caught up in the end, right? We always know the end is a clusterfuck of session. Maybe you should have done your work during regular session. I don't know. But now you want a special session, and oh, by the way, you're going to tack on the fact that we need to deal with an actual fucking crisis where people can't eat. They cannot feed themselves over Thanksgiving.
We're gonna tack it on. It's an if time permits agenda item.
And last time I checked, tell me if I'm crazy. Last time I checked, Joe Lombardo wholeheartedly, with his chest, supported Donald Trump as president.
Yeah, hasn't said a word against him either.
So
absolutely. I also haven't seen a sign to, you know, the beautiful Western states compact to like help people have vaccines access. You know, that some of the Western states. No, we're just out here not giving a shit thanks to Lombardo and not doing anything to actually help Nevadans. We're just gonna.
Last time I checked, the pharmacy board just went rogue and was like, yeah, I guess you could give people vaccines. Do what you got to do. Because we're the wild, wild west.
If it wasn't for the pharmacy board, it would be like,
we'd have to go to California for our vaccines at this point.
Yeah, we really are going to look like those post-apocalyptic movies set in Vegas. And even then, Joe Lombardo would be like, a crisis is looming. Even though we're all like hunting for animals in the desert.
Need you to go with me for a moment in your head.
Mm-hmm.
You have been to sessions with me. Mm-hmm. You've been to special sessions with me. Mm-hmm. Am I ever happy to go to a special session? Am I ever like, I can't wait to go to Carson City in the winter?
Nobody is. No.
And deal with this. No.
God, no.
Then you add on the fact that we're going to Carson City to deal with shit that should have been dealt with during a regular session. And I am hearing they still don't have the fucking votes for a film tax credit. I know that'll shock you. I'm hearing the governor and the leaders in both chambers can't get on the same page about anything. No, that's going to shock you. So we don't have a settled agenda. We can't get on the same page with film tax credit, even though it was voted down and should just stay down at this point.
Yeah.
We don't have the votes in the Senate, apparently, for film tax credit. And then we're going to deal with bills that should have been dealt with during the regular session. But now the hotels want them, so now we got to go into special.
Oh,
so those 4 things already annoyed the shit out of me. But now we're gonna shoehorn some fucking money into a food bank to feed poor people who don't have cars. That sounds like the Nevada way to me. Great job, everyone. Bang up job, Nevada. Never fails. And I can't wait to go to Carson City, Maria. It's just truly an honor and a privilege to get to do that work.
It's gonna be joy, it sounds like.
Going home for BravoCon. I don't give a shit. I am not missing it because you know what? Nobody's snatching my joy this year. No. That is the one thing I've been looking forward to. Joe Lombardo is not snatching my fucking joy.
And it sounds like and by there I mean everybody involved, is not taking this special session as seriously as they need to. They're just gonna tack on something.
Take it seriously when you don't know if it's actually even happening, because the governor keeps saying things like, yeah, I think it's going to happen November 10th. Yeah, I think it's going to happen November 12th. Maybe it'll happen the 3rd week of November. Maybe it'll get moved to December. Maybe it won't happen at all, is what I heard last week.
Maybe you should get your shit together, Joe Lombardo.
That part. Maybe we should all just work together because people are going to be starving in 6 days. Maybe that would be the thing to do. And maybe, just maybe, we could do the not lazy thing. Because funding food banks, listen, we have a lot of dear friends who work for the food banks. The work they do is incredible. I'm not bashing the food banks in any way, shape, or form. The work that 3 Square does, the work that the Northern Nevada Food Bank does, incredible work. And I adore them and I love them. Keep funding them if you're funding them. And it's not an or, it's an and. Maybe we should think of some other ways to get people food assistance because not everybody's going to be able to get to a food.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe we, like, all those rural legislators should, like, start thinking about, like, how do our people that they don't even have anything nearby. Like, try driving across rural Nevada. There's nothing. Nary a gas station until you get to the highway.
Well, let's think about Alamo for a moment. You and I have been to Alamo many times. Most people get their food at that gas station for many miles around there, right? There's like that big gas station that also functions as a grocery store.
Yeah.
In Alamo, is there a food bank? Did I miss that? Because last time I checked, it was a one-way road with a few buildings on it, and most people get their food at that gas station. And I'm guessing most people on SNAP, most people on food assistance get their food at that gas station. So how, pray tell, Nevada elected officials are people in Alamo gonna get their food? QQ. Just wondering.
And get a job is not the answer, by the way.
No, because most of them have jobs, actually. Most people in Nevada who are on food assistance, by the way, a whole bunch of them are MAGA voters, so good luck with that narrative. Second of all, most of them have 1, 2, even 3 jobs and are just trying to make ends meet and put food on the table for their kids.
Because what's also happening? Food prices are rising.
It's crazy how that works. Those tariffs are making everything more expensive.
Yeah. Wild
Wild how all this works. Meanwhile, the Republicans just keep dicking around because they want to take away your health care, America. Good job, everyone.
And that's, that's the gist of it.
That's
right?
the crux of the whole thing, right?
That it's literally the Republicans, like, think about, and I welcome all people of the entire political spectrum, or I don't give a shit about politics. That is what is actually happening, what Annette said. The Republicans are saying it's either healthcare or feeding people. So it's either people dying because of disease or dying because they're hungry. Pick one, but you can't have both.
Just a note, because I've been curious about this and I haven't had time to do it, but I wanted to go down the rabbit hole, and I think this is the perfect time to talk about the Republicans and their plans and why they want to... Listen, we're going to cut SNAP and we're going to cut WIC and we're going to cut Head Start as a leverage point for the government shutdown. That's a great talking point for the Republicans, but This has been part of the plan all along, friends. They've never wanted you to have this government assistance. They don't even give a shit about their own voters. They don't want people to eat food. They don't want government assistance for the poorest among us. Want to know how I know that? They fucking wrote it down because Project 2025 exists and you can still read it. And guess what, Maria? There's a whole section in there about getting rid of snacks.
Weird.
It's like this was all planned.
Like they had an instruction manual.
They had an instruction manual and then saw this golden opportunity to not only cut the ACA, to cut your health care, but to get rid of SNAP too. It's like a 2-for-1 special, friends. So, this is not even from a partisan outlet. I just Googled it just to see what was in Project 2025 about food assistance. This is from the Food Research and Action Center. Not a partisan hack job at all. Let's just scroll down a little. Project 2025 outlines devastating changes to USDA and the federal nutrition programs. Sound familiar? The document advocates for narrowing the scope of the U.S. Department of Agriculture's USDA role, cutting references to equity, climate smart, separating agricultural provisions from nutritional programs in the Farm Bill, and moving the Food and Nutrition Service to the Department of Health and Human Services, where dreams go to die. To put all means-tested programs, means-tested means they're testing the income. So if you make below a certain amount, that's means-tested. So you qualify for those programs in one department to uncover the size of the welfare state, Maria. Whoa. This is a quote from Project 2025.
Spooky.
I told you this was going to be a spooky episode.
I know where the welfare state is, though. I know where it is.
Florida?
Argentina.
Dictators! Gotta give them dictators that money. Gotta give them
$40 billion.
Hey, that's fuck them poor people eating. We gotta give some dictators some cash. We gotta give them some meat cash. Anyways, let me continue. The section uses the outdated term food stamps. Outdated term. To refer to the SNAP Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP benefits. Specifically, the section seeks to increase work requirements for able-bodied adults without dependents by only allowing waivers if the state's unemployment rate is above 6%. By the way, we have the highest unemployment rate in the country. Nevada does. For more than 24 months, disallowing long-standing state flexibility to calculate the local unemployment rate. Eliminate categorical eligibility, which will remove the state's options of increasing gross income eligibility from 130% to 200%. So essentially raising the threshold for people to qualify.
Right.
Of the federal poverty level and removing the asset limit. Roll back the updates to the, quote, thrifty food plan that modernized the SNAP benefits formula after decades of being connected to metrics and nutritional guidance from the 1960s, when my mother was born. Eliminate the low-income home energy assistant program that created the National Standardized Utility Allowance for households with low income. But wait, WIC was in here too, Maria. I know that. Shocking.
That's in there.
They want to come.
Well, that's weird because it has women.
Proposed changes: changing the way state agencies run competitive bidding for infant formula rebate contracts, weakening regulations on baby formula. That sounds smart. What a brilliant idea, Project 2025.
So, Project 2025 in short, and it's weird because it's happening all in 2025. So. It's like they
had a plan for it. They told us. They literally wrote the whole fucking thing down.
So, no on abortion. Also, no on the baby formula for the baby that you are now forced to have. And
the baby needs to get a job.
Yeah, go get a job.
And eat your McDonald's. It's idiocracy. We are in full idiocracy now.
We are literally.
Okay. I don't understand what you're not understanding. Oh, the next thing is school meals. School meals. Prohibiting schools from grouping together to utilize community eligibility provisions. Because, like, why save money?
Grouping together like it's a gang.
Because, like, why band together to try and get better meal prices. Working with Congress to ultimately eliminate CEP, that's the community eligibility provision,
Cool.
providing summer meals only to
Uh-huh.
children enrolled in summer school classes. 'Cause those fucking idiots, if they're not enrolled, they don't deserve food.
No. Go enroll
Rejecting
yourself, kid.
efforts to establish healthy school meals for all policies nationwide and in states. Because, Maria, fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids. That's what Project 2025 basically says. Fuck them kids. Let them be hungry.
We should just make a cover of it and just put it like right here and say, this is the actual title of Project Fuck Them Kids. Fuck them kids, but you gotta have them.
But you're going to be forced to pop them out of your hoo-ha. Good job, everyone.
Jesus H.
It's great.
Christ.
It's great.
Jesus.
And you know what states disproportionately rely on these types of services? Nevada.
Oh, all the red
Nevada's one of those. Well, and poor ones like us, Nevada, because we don't like to, like pay taxes or have any revenue of any kind. We don't like social services. So when like bad shit happens, we just kind of like shoehorn shit into like trying to make it work.
And to all those
remember when Dieter fell apart? We just kind of shoehorned that piece of shit. Same thing we're gonna do to try and feed people.
And you know what's crazy?
There's only one part? Which part's crazy?
All of it. Man, so many. But when all those people, especially in the legislature, are like, this bill is going to California my Nevada, we're gonna be killing each other for food soon.
Shout out to my friend Dora, because you know Dora. Because today Dora goes, how long do you think it's going to take for like California to like close off their borders with Nevada now? Because like Nevada can't even fucking feed people. I was like, a couple weeks. Give it a couple weeks.
So you mean I got to start driving now?
I wonder if there's like a litmus test that they'll like let liberals in, you know?
Right, yeah. Like, have you read Project 2025? Yes, I have it bookmarked. I know what's in there.
Okay, well, I have to read you this other, because this is like the final circle of hell. Because if it was not bad enough, let's go one more circle of hell with me. You ready?
Oh boy, yeah. Might as well.
Newsweek, and we'll put this in the chat. So Newsweek had an article today that I just happened to stumble across as I was, perusing, or doom scrolling as I like to call it, social media today. Walmart set to lose billions from SNAP benefits stopping in November.
Yeah.
So let's continue down this path, okay?
Uh-huh.
So people can't eat because the government is stopping the nutrition program that gets loaded onto their little cards, and then they go to the grocery store that's near them and they're able to like buy groceries and feed themselves.
Right.
Oftentimes those stores are like Walmart because it's discounted food. It's cheap food. So people can get more bang for their buck because things, as you pointed out, are incredibly expensive. People are not going to Whole Foods to get their fucking groceries.
Yep.
Like, they're going to cheap places to get as much food as they possibly can for their families.
Which was a big win, by the way, by the greatest person ever, Michelle Obama. In her Get Healthy campaign.
Walmart, again, Newsweek article, Walmart could see a significant decline in consumer spending if the government suspends the supplemental nutrition assistance program benefits as a result of the ongoing shutdown. According to a June report from the market research data firm Numerator, Walmart accounts for roughly a quarter, that's 24%, of SNAP shoppers' total spending. Given the estimated $1 billion spent by the government on the program annually, roughly $8.3 billion monthly. This would imply a loss of about $2 billion for Walmart if the benefits are withheld for the entire month of November. So now you've got starving people who can't eat. You've got a holiday looming, more than one. You've got people who can't eat, people who can't access food, kids who are going to starve. Now you've also got the nation's biggest retailers who are going to start losing money because of it. Now, I'm not sitting here telling a sob story for Walmart. They'll be just fine.
Yeah.
But what this shows is that this is going to have a ripple effect on our economy. It is not just regular, normal people who are going to suffer because they can't eat food thanks to Donald Trump and thanks to Joe Lombardo. There is going to be a ripple effect in our economy because businesses, big, like Walmart, and even small, little mom and pop shops, are going to lose money because people cannot go buy their groceries. So let's go back to the little grocery store in Alamo, the only one that exists in Alamo. When people can't go buy their food at that little store in Alamo, what is the little store in Alamo going to do? They're going to have to raise prices. It's a whole ripple effect. And that's what, the Republicans love to sit here and talk about how much they, love business and they're the party of business and blah, blah. Really? Because tariffs and cutting
look like
food
it.
programs sure don't look like you're good for business, Republicans.
When Walmart is like, we're scared.
Remember, and Target are the ones who went to this administration early on and were like, hey, dumbass, you're about to put tariffs on all these countries.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think's going to happen? Prices are going to go up, you dummy.
You think all our shit's made here? No, it's not. Just like yours.
Fat white Americans are making this shit? No.
Hell no.
Dummy.
No.
Hey, but money for dictators. Got to get that Argentinian beef, baby.
Mm-hmm. With foot and mouth disease.
Got to bail out those dictators.
Yeah. But get a tax credit. Jesus. Fuck, I hate this timeline. Also, this reminds me.
The dumbest timeline on earth.
The other crazy part among the millions is, and we've talked about this in some instances here, that also when we've been at legislative session, how many times have we said, what if something happens between now and next session? That could affect, I don't know, the economy.
Millions of people.
Yeah.
Thousands of Americans. Thousands of Nevadans.
Maybe some things that are just responsible in the long term may not be a shiny stadium or a shiny studio, but I don't know, people won't die. People won't starve. But now here we are having to find a couch penny for food. That's right, Wednesday.
She knows what's up. Continue.
No, it's such bullshit. And we would hear stuff about like, we can wait until next session. We can wait until we have super majority. All the parties say that. And it's like, can y'all just be responsible for once, everybody, and just look further than what you can put in a mailer or what you can post on your Instagram because you got a tax credit for a billionaire? Come on, here we are. And how many times were people, I don't know, something could happen. But no, you'd rather believe a fake economist like, what's his name, Aguero, who's like, we've already been through a terrible pandemic. That's not going to happen again. And shut the fuck up. We're going to die now of hunger.
I think what's even stupider about this whole thing is like, pandemic shit happens, right? Like weird stuff happens. We're on the weirdest timeline of all. I still think we all died during COVID and we're just like living in like the ninth circle of hell.
Yeah.
That was like, you could argue maybe it was man-made. Nobody knows. But like, this is like truly a man-made, Trump-made, Republican-made problem.
Right. Yep.
And for all of those motherfuckers out there watching, please come at me because I don't care at this point because I will argue until I'm blue in the face. I do it every day. Don't come at me about the Democrats because for once in their lives, once in their dumb ass lives, they are holding firm on something which is protecting people's health care.
Which is
I know
vital.
It feels like they're not standing up for something. Finally, they're actually standing up for something really, really, really important. Frankly, I can't believe they're actually still standing up for it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, let Donald Trump do this. Let Donald Trump starve poor people. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how good it goes. Because I don't think it's going to go well.
Exactly. Yeah. Call their bluff. Call people's bluffs. That's what you do. You call their bluff.
Fuck around and find out.
That's right. That's awesome.
So yeah. So
also a super light week. Yeah.
Well, I told everybody it was a scary Halloween Nevada Day episode. I meant what I said. I didn't mince words. poor people not being able to eat, Americans not being able to eat. That's something all of us should be outraged about. That's something I should see every single person who watches this week writing letters, tweeting, screaming at their elected officials, because everybody should be outraged about this right now.
Yep.
And the thing is, again, this is not something that they're just like, oh, we're going to make this threat that we're going to do the thing against SNAP and WIC and Head Start.
It's in their manual.
They want to cut it completely. It was in Project 2025. This is just a convenient way for them to get rid of it.
Yes. They don't want it to exist. Full on stop, everyone. They don't want it.
And
period.
If you don't believe me, we'll put the freaking link from the article I read, because they don't want any of these programs to exist. Full stop.
And if you are either auditory impaired or you don't like to read, we will put it right here. We'll take a screenshot and put it right here where my hands are. Right here. Look at it. And you will see it that it says fuck them kids, but with more words.
Proper words.
Yeah. All fleshed out.
I'm so sick of this timeline.
It's so terrible.
It's so awful. It's just the worst. And people were like, oh, it can't get any worse. We already lived with Trump 1. It can't be any worse. I'm like, you sure about that? Okay, so because it's just symbolic, and I think it's an excellent way to really round out this truly horrifying, scary episode. Let's talk about him tearing down the White House for a minute, because we haven't talked about that yet, shall we? The demolition of the East Wing.
Just when you think Rose Garden was
can't get any more stupid.
Yeah, we're gonna put a fucking ballroom. Yeah. He's Marie Antoinette. He's Marie Antoinette reincarnated. He's gonna have balls while everybody's hunting for food. Not for sport, but for need.
Yeah, it's literally the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
We're literally moving into the Hunger Games portion of this nightmare.
That shit wasn't fiction. That was a prophecy.
So, okay. I was lucky enough, and you were lucky enough, to go to the White House during Biden's administration. Thank God we saw it before he tears it all down. I then was lucky enough to go to the Aces celebration when they won their first championship in the East Wing. Thank God. So I got really cool pictures. I got to see the inside. Chock full of history. There's all kinds of stuff from previous presidencies, previous first ladies. That was where the first lady's office was. There's all kinds of cool stuff that happens in the East Wing. It's not just some empty wing that they just entertain people with. It was a really important place where lots of cool stuff happened. All the Christmas decorations took place. All the holiday parties took place. It was known for those things, right? So to make renovations to said White House, you're supposed to get approval from this whole office. There's whole process, rules, regulations, a whole process.
Yeah.
And previous presidents went through that process if they were going to do renovations, things like that. Well, not this dumb motherfucker.
He just did it.
So during the town hall I did with Congresswoman Titus last week, she was one of my professors, one of your professors. So I said to her, hey, do we know what happened to all the stuff that was in the East Wing? Because there was quite a bit of history in the East Wing. Yeah. She looked at me and she goes, nope.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then she mentioned, she goes, I've heard rumors he wants to auction off the bricks.
The fucker's gonna auction off the bricks?
Cool. Remember when the Nazis hid all the art in the caves and then they
That's what I was thinking.
Literally. That's all that came to my mind. And they're gonna sell it off.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's going to be in Russia in a few years.
100%.
From the East Wing.
100%. It's going to be pieces of the Berlin Wall just floating around the world.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
So when people wonder, are we there yet? When you're talking about
we're there. We're
clearly there. We are.
And I had a Democrat say to me the other day, why is everybody so upset about him tearing down the East Wing of the White House? And it just I kind of sat back and looked at him and I was like, well, there's a few reasons why. The first reason being, we're more worried. Donald Trump is more worried about a ballroom that he's emulating Russia off of. He's more worried about a ballroom than he is feeding poor people and children. That's number one. That's the number one thing I have an issue with, right? We're in the
Right.
middle of a government shutdown where federal workers are not being paid. Donald Trump's still being paid, but the federal workers are not being paid. And you're
Mhm.
over here smashing and trashing the White House to build a ballroom. That's your priorities? Seems like an interesting choice.
It's a
And
choice
then
of
you
it.
take it the step further, right? Of like smashing and trashing a building that doesn't fucking belong to you, Donald Trump. That belongs
Mhm.
to the American people.
Mm.
And smashing and trashing the East Wing without getting permission and going through the proper historical steps to do it.
History schmistery.
He doesn't believe in laws or rules or any of that shit, but like, it's just another example of him literally just giving the finger to the American people. Like, I don't give a shit about the law. I
Guess
don't
what?
give
I'm
a
a
shit about
dictator.
rules.
Yeah. Guess what, people? Ask people that have been in dictatorships. It starts with the little things,
The stuff
and the
that
right.
you hold near and dear, that history.
Yeah, it starts there, and then everything else happens afterwards. So, like the scary part, like where I don't know, family members go, "Oh, that's already happening." Family members going missing, but like everybody's family going missing. You can't say certain things. People are dying. It's almost like you should be righteously angry at the first thing.
Imagine.
Hmm. Well, it's been a fun episode. Very
Yeah,
appropriate.
and while we're recording this, Jamaica is being inundated with water because of a giant ass hurricane. That's probably going to end up hitting somewhere in the United States as well.
It's fine.
Everything's fine. But we can't
We
give
don't even.
government assistance to anyone. We're not even giving it to Vermont after their major floods. So
No,
good luck, all the southern states, because you're probably not going to get any assistance if Hurricane Melissa slams into you later this week.
they
Hope
should
hope
call
you
them
got good
Melania.
insurance.
Hope they don't change their policies. Like act
Hope
of
you don't.
God isn't
Yeah,
covered.
literally. Overnight while a major hurricane's coming at you, because your federal government, if you live in the United States, they ain't gonna help you because they're not gonna feed you and they're not gonna bail you out when there's a major catastrophe. Good luck, everybody. It's like the Hunger Games now.
Mm-hmm. And the odds be ever in your favor.
And with that, Maria, happy Halloween, everyone. Happy Nevada Day, everyone.
Happy Nevada Day, the Nevada way.
It wouldn't be a Nevada Day without failure. To wrap up this episode, though, by saying Nevada Day is on its proper day this year. And
Right.
this Nevadan feels good about that. I feel like something
Right.
has been restored. My childhood has been restored because Nevada Day is on October 31st. It's proper day this year. There's none of this observed nonsense.
Observed.
Yeah.
Someone is also happy about that.
Chulo.
Yeah.
Happy Nevada Day, Chulo.
That's right. That's right. Chulo's mad people are gonna go hungry.
Aren't we all? At least we should be.
Yeah.
Not only are they
it's
going to go hungry,
thing.
if you live in the path of a hurricane, Chulo, you're in deep trouble because Donald Trump ain't coming to help you.
Oh boy. This is great times, everyone.
Well, I just want to say happy Nevada Day. We became a state October 31st, 1864. And, we were the battle-born state because we were admitted to the Union, to become a Union state.
Woo!
And it's a really cool thing. And I love Nevada Day as much as I love Halloween. Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. I'm really excited.
Hell yeah.
Other than people can't feed themselves starting Saturday. So
Other
there's
than that, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Like, yeah. So, be kind to people out there, everyone. Like, they're literally probably starving.
If teenagers come to your door looking for candy, just give them the goddamn candy and don't be a douchebag. How about that?
They'll be like,
How
you're
about
not
that?
wearing a costume.
Who cares? They probably can't afford it because their parents can't afford to put food on the table right now. Don't be a douchebag. Give them a handful of candy.
Yeah. And if you run out of candy or you feel like you should start handing out other shit.
Yeah. Turn off your lights so that people don't come to your door begging for candy because at this point they're going to do that.
Yeah. And you know what? That's caloric intake at this point.
All right. You want to take us out?
Yes, literally I do. Yeah. Everyone, have a happy Halloween. If you or someone you know does need assistance, support, you have questions about all of this, feel free to let us know. Like
We can
are
get you in touch
happy to
with the
help.
right people. We were happy to help any person in need.
Yeah. So if you are one of those people that's like, that's literally me they're talking about, drop us a DM in any of our social medias, which are on our profile. I'll also drop them in the notes section. And if you can, follow us, like, subscribe. But seriously, now's the time that we need to pull through together because no one's coming to save us. And that's my
Now's the
final.
time to take care of each other. So if you need help, if you need assistance, let us know. We'll get you in touch with the right people.
Yep. And with that, we will see you all next week.
Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, be sure to share this with your friends and family, especially if they need assistance. Even if you know somebody, share this with them so we can help them too. And happy Nevada Day and have a safe and happy Halloween, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.